Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia, 12 noon on December 29th between the number 10 Florida Gators and the number 7 Michigan Wolverines. The entire 2018 season was centered around the quote-unquote redemption tour for the Wolverines. 2017 saw Michigan lose to Michigan State, Penn State, Wisconsin, and Ohio State for 4 losses on the season. Things this year started out well for the redemption tour, other than, week 1 loss to Notre Dame, which as the season progressed, that loss to Notre Dame looked better and better as Notre Dame went undefeated and now is in the college football playoff. Michigan didn't really lose a lot either. Transfer quarterback Shea Patterson started to click. His team went game by game. He knocked off all those Big Ten foes that stood between him and a championship. Down 0-17 to Northwestern in the second quarter, Wolverines fought back, took a 24-17 win in Evanston. 2 weeks later, a 38-13 blowout of number 15 Wisconsin, followed up with a dismantling of their arch rival, 24 ranked Michigan State, 21-7. Then the very next week, for 3 weeks in a row, redemption continued. They throttled Penn State, who was 14 at the time, 42-7, and it was Michigan's probably their most complete game of the season. Now, flash forward to Thanksgiving, Michigan riding high, number 4 ranking, the penultimate college football playoff rankings, controlling their own destiny to get to a national championship. And all that stands in the way is little old us Buckeyes here in Columbus. And then going into halftime, a huge swing of momentum toward Michigan. It had the Wolverines trailing 19-24. Dwayne Haskins then in the second half kind of has his quote-unquote Heisman moment, even though he didn't win it. Buckeyes cruise to an easier than the score looks 62-39 win over Michigan. Buckeyes win the Big Ten, the Rose Bowl berth. Michigan has to watch all of that happen, and they get relegated to the Peach Bowl with its tail between its legs. Michigan, so sad. We're so sad for you, Michigan. I'm so sad.
No love lost from you.
No.
At all.
But this Peach Bowl is weird because it's kind of a strangely familiar matchup, Michigan and Florida. In Jim Harbaugh's first year at Michigan, he crushed Florida 41-7 in the Citrus Bowl. And then last season saw Michigan cruise to a 33-17 win over the Gators to open the season down in Arlington, Texas. And now to cap off 2018 and to potentially earn an 11th win for Harbaugh, Michigan will need to do the same thing and beat Florida again. The problem is they'll be doing it without 2 of their best defensive players. So a lot of sitter-outers for Michigan in this one. 2 defensive players.
I'm not sure what Jim Harbaugh ended up saying to his players, but there's so many people sitting out in this game from Michigan.
They're important people too. Junior defensive end Rashawn Gary, junior linebacker Devin Bush, both have already declared for the NFL draft. They're sitting out the Peach Bowl. That's over 100 tackles and 8 sacks lost in the statistics. Centerpieces and what is the number 1 defensive unit in the country. So that's going to be tough to replace. And then on the offensive side of the ball, leading rusher Karan Higdon, he's going to be sitting out for this game. One of the offensive tackles just announced right before we started this, he's going to be sitting out for this game. So that's 1,100 rushing yards gone from Higdon. The next best rusher is way less than that. Thankfully for Wolverine fans, Shea Patterson will be returning for his senior season. He's announced he'll have to have his best game and kind of take it over offensively for the Wolverines to even come away with a close game against this Florida squad, who Dan Mullins has had a great job coaching his first year in Florida, hasn't he, John?
Yes, indeed he has. And with all the sitter-outers for Michigan, I'm liking the Gators' chances in this one. I mean, you have Felipe Franks and company who finished 44th in yards per game this season and are fairly balanced with 217 yards per game through the air and 209 on the ground. Franks seems to have no favorite receiver, but hooked up with Van Jefferson 31 times for 6 touchdowns. Going up against this Michigan defense is no easy task, but again, with all the sitter-outers, feeling good about Franks overall. The Gators were 9th best against the pass, and I think Shea Patterson is going to have a tough time getting any movement up front. Most of that is because of Ja'Kai Polite. I don't know if you've heard of this guy from the Gators, but he is one of the best defensive linemen this year.
Is he really nice?
He does seem like a nice guy. They just had a nice story on him and how he helps out he's where he is because of his mom. So if you want to look it up, Jachai Polite, that's Jachiai.
He lives up to his name.
Yeah. So 5 forced fumbles, 43 tackles, 11 sacks. This guy is scary good. So don't let his last name fool you. He's been a menace to the quarterbacks all season with 2 sacks in games against Florida State, LSU, and Mississippi State. I like this defense. I don't so much like the offense, so I think this is going to be a tight one. I think Florida is the more complete team, especially with the amount of people, again, sitting out for Michigan. I think Florida comes away with the upset 17-14.
I do not disagree with you, John. I think Florida will come away with a win here. And again, the offense is still building. The offense has been really bad the past couple of years for Florida, but Dan Mullen's kind of starting to turn things around, kept the defense good for Florida, and I think the offense is coming around. I think they'll do just enough to defeat Michigan, who just got crushed for 62 points against Ohio State, and now they're losing their 2 best defensive players. So I think Florida will do enough to win this one in what a lot of people are going to consider an upset.
Yeah, this is a good noon game. Like, a lot of times that noon game isn't all that great, and really you have the Belk Bowl to watch also if you don't want to watch this one in particular. But most people, I think, by noon that Saturday are going to be watching Michigan and Florida.
It's a good precursor to what will be the 2 college football playoff matchups coming at 4 and 8 o'clock. So, yeah, I think this is a fun one to watch.